for a population boom as the pandemic drags on. They're projecting unplanned pregnancies in 20% of the country's poorest. Online sellers might get a bit of a reprieve. The BIR is now mulling extending its deadline for the registration of online businesses. And are you on the bandwagon yet? Well, before you do that gender swap via Face app, know that experts are flagging security risks. We begin tonight with the Office of the Ombudsman starting the ball rolling on its probe into the Health Department as they issue subpoenas to the DOH and the Budget Department. In an interview, Ombudsman Samuel Martirez said the documents will aid the ongoing investigation into the DOH and how it handled its COVID-19 war chest. Martirez says he would like to find out if financial aid was given to medical frontliners on time. The subpoenas will be addressed to Health Secretary Francisco Duque III and Budget Secretary Wendell Avisado. Apart from that, the Ombudsman also recorded 30 complaints on the Government Social Amelioration Program, or SAP. The Social Welfare Department, for one, has uncovered some 22,000 duplicate SAP beneficiaries. This comes as the department validates the distribution of the first tranche of cash aid from government. The agency now vows to intensify its validation of liquidation reports submitted by LGUs. While the Ombudsman's investigation into the alleged irregularities in the Health Department is ongoing, DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere says there's no need for Secretary Francisco Duque to resign or to take a leave of absence. In a virtual media forum held Friday morning, Vergere claimed that the department has yet to receive any formal notice of investigation from the Office of the Ombudsman. Regardless, the health official assured that Duque has the department's full support in this matter.
Sana naiintindihan po ng mga tao, kaya po nakakayanan ng mga undersecretaries ang aming trabaho dahil meron po kaming leader na katulad ni Secretary Duque. We have our full support to the Secretary and we still think that he should be retained dito po sa kanyang posisyon.
Former IATF advisor Dr. Tony Lechon is also dragging Secretary Duque into his removal as advisor to the National Task Force against COVID-19. In an interview with Cito Beltran's Agenda, Lechon said that presidential spokesman Harry Roque and Duque suggested his removal to Secretary Galvez. The former advisor also insists that he was telling the truth about the government's mishandling of its pandemic response, but that he never said that IATF officials were lying about the COVID-19 data in the country. Lechon says he is open to take part in the Ombudsman's investigation.
Wala akong sinasabing liar sila. Siya ang nagsabi niyan. Kung ganun ang interpretation niya, kung iisipin ng Presidente o ni Secretary Roque at Tina Duque and even Secretary Galvez, nagsasabi ako ng totoo kasi the main ombudsman, siya ang nanggagalaiti sa galit na mayroong pagkakamali ang Department of Health. Bakit ako tinanggal for telling the truth? Ano naman ang kasalanan ko? Ba't hindi naman nila pagalitan si Ombudsman Samuel Martirez?
Malacanang Haslan, former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV for allegedly sowing intrigue in the middle of the pandemic. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says his remarks that Vice President Leni Robredo could have offered solutions instead of criticizing the government was just a response to a specific question from the media. Trillanes earlier challenged the palace to appoint Robredo if it really wants to flatten the COVID-19 curve. The former senator also criticized Roque for turning a blind eye, he said, on Robredo's initiatives. At the sidelines of the opening of 2 new molecular laboratories in Central Luzon, government officials could not help but question the timing of the Ombudsman's probe into Health Secretary Francisco Duque. Greg Gregorio tells us why in this report.
The Philippine Red Cross has just boosted its testing capacity to 16,000 per day. That's with the addition of 2 new molecular laboratories, one in Clark, Pampanga, and another in Subic. Both labs can carry out as much as 2,000 tests per day each, but capacity can be doubled with additional PCR machines. The PRC targets at least a 46,000 daily testing capacity once laboratories in other areas like in Mandaue and Zamboanga start operations.
Hindi tayo nagtetest para for the sake of testing. Pag na-test nyo ang tao, pwede na magtrabaho yan. Kung di natin tetestingin ang tao natin at marami doon sa lugar natin, hindi nagpapatest, hindi papasok ang hanap buhay.
The two new laboratories will receive samples from the local governments in Region 3 and other provinces in northern Luzon. The province of Tarlac is under JCQ, while Pampanga has been placed under modified general community quarantine.
What is important is yung recoveries also at yung healthcare system is in place to treat.
Once there's a confirmed case, contact tracing mabilis, pagsundo ng mga confirmed cases from barangay, may system tayo. So, hindi ako ganun ka-worried.
During the site inspection of the newly opened molecular laboratory in Clark, PRC Chairman and CEO and Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Senator Richard Gordon says that officials should focus on the COVID-19 response. This amid ongoing probes in the health department's response to the pandemic.
I don't like changing horses in the middle of the stream. Kailangan natin dito, matapos kagad yung trabaho. Kung may kasalanan ka, malalaman naman yan eh. Sisingaw yan eh. So ako, sinasabi ko, huminahon tayo. Let's focus.
National Task Force Against COVID-19 Deputy Chief Implementer Secretary Vince Dizon added the Office of the Ombudsman's move to investigate Duque regarding various allegations, but he also echoed Gordon's opinion.
The people in DOH and other agencies should not be distracted by that. They should cooperate, they should work with the Ombudsman, but the focus must be on this.
For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
In other stories, more than 6,000 locally stranded individuals have returned to their provinces after taking refuge in Baclaran Church. That's after LGUs provided buses for the LSIs. Baclaran Church vows to keep accepting stranded Filipinos seeking shelter. There are still more than 300 locally stranded individuals staying in the church, waiting for their transportation back home. Over at a military facility turned temporary shelter in Taguig, some 100 stranded individuals will also be flown out to finally reunite with their families. Hannibal Talete has the report.
Journey Medalla feels overjoyed upon learning that she will be able to return to her hometown in Tagum this Friday. She had to set aside her work aspirations in Qatar due to COVID-19 restrictions. She then tried to go home, but her flight was cancelled 4 times. Journey, along with over 200 other locally stranded individuals or LSIs, are staying temporarily at the Philippine Army Wellness Center in Taguig City.
Sobrang happy po kasi makakasama ko na po yung pamilya ko. Minsan po sir, nawawala ng pag-asa pero nagdadasal lang po ako palagi sir. Para si God na po yung bahala na mag-guide sa akin.
Norman James, a student, is also happy because he's finally scheduled to go home to Davao.
Sobrang saya po kasi makakapiling ko na po yung pamilya ko. Nag-aaral po ako ng Japanese language purpose for abroad po para makatulong din po sa sustento ng pamilya po namin.
The LSIs were given logistical assistance by the Philippine Army, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, for its part, distributed food packs and a 2,000 peso allowance for each LSI. The stranded individuals will be ferried by Cebu Pacific and Air Asia flights. Authorities say they will continuously coordinate with local airlines to provide flights for them.
Ang layunin natin dito ay ang ating mga kababayan na LSI ay makauwi sa kanilang mga tahanan na. No? Ang stay nila dito sa Philippine Army ay temporary para hindi naman sila na kailangan na maghirap pa doon na naghihintay sa airport.
Meanwhile, 47 more LSIs from the airport are now seeking temporary refuge. They have to be tested for COVID-19 first before they get to enter the Philippine Army Wellness Center. For News 5, Hannibal Talete. We are One News.
We'll pause for a short break, but when the big story returns, 2 of the country's biggest lenders are clearing their names of possible links to crisis-hit German payments firm Wirecard. And the government is also being urged to ramp up its population control efforts as pregnancies are expected to spike during the health crisis. I'm Robbie Alampay. You're watching The Big Story. COVID-19 cases in the country have surpassed the 28,000 mark. That's after the health department reported more than 600 new COVID-19 cases. 460 of those are fresh cases, more than 200 are late. Deaths, meanwhile, are now at 1,130 with 14 new fatalities recorded just today. That compares to the 280 recoveries tallied in the past 24 hours, which pushed the country's recovery count to more than 7,300. The DOH is also quick to dispel online posts indicating or suggesting that the entire province of Cebu is under ECQ. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire says Region 7 is under GCQ, save for Cebu City, which has been reverted to enhanced community quarantine. She asked that they continue to monitor the clustering of COVID-19 cases in the city.
Yes, we continue to monitor the clustering of cases across the country. Yes, we have new clusterings, clustering of cases in the province of Cebu, specifically dito po sa mga areas sa Cebu City with the different barangays.
The Philippine Army has launched a comprehensive mental health program dubbed Kaagapay ng mga Bayani. The initiative aims to raise awareness about mental health issues and help struggling military personnel, especially those who are under war shock or post-war trauma.
Yes, in revitalizing and enhancing, because we have a mental program in place, but we need to update them.
Gapay says the case of Winston Ragos, a reportedly mentally ill retired soldier who was fatally shot at a quarantine checkpoint, is among the reasons why they rolled out the program.
Siguro kaloob na rin po ng Diyos, in other side, na si Winston, siya po yung daan din na ito po ang ganda ng programang inano po ni General Gapay po para po sa mga sundalo.
As we continue to deal with the COVID-19 crisis, the country appears to have one more concern: a spike in births, or what's called the baby boom phenomenon. Marlene Alcaide tells us more.
Carmela gave birth 3 months ago, right around the time that Metro Manila was placed under community quarantine. Since then, surviving has become a struggle. The restrictions have rendered her husband jobless. But despite running low on funds, Carmela says a budget has to be always allocated for her contraceptive pills.
Para ako iwas din sa dagdag. Iwas din dagdag. Tsaka baka dumami ulit. Tama na, 3 lang.
The Population Commission hopes that Carmela's story would inspire more people as a baby boom phenomenon or spike in births is expected amid the pandemic.
You look at it, maraming opportunities ang lockdown to stay together. No? You are together all the time. So either you will have a population increase because you're always together, or in the very few occasions where you have issues of abuse, it can also lead to abuse. So we are trying to help both ways.
Perez adds this could also happen after a traumatic experience. The onslaught of Super Typhoon Yolanda, for instance, resulted in increased pregnancy rate in the Visayas region in 2013. Now that the country continues to face a health crisis, the POPCOM estimates that at least 20% of the poorest of the poor are expected to have unplanned pregnancy.
Yung mga may pamilya na may savings, kung nabuntis, may bagong anak, 1/3 ng savings nagagastos. So it can impact families economically. And then we have a situation na maaaring walang trabaho, walang income na pumapasok, ginagamit na yung savings mo. So even your depleted savings baka maubos with another baby on the way. And for the very poor, lalong mangungutang yan.
And so, the Commission believes that this will worsen the situation of thousands of Filipinos' families. The POPCOM is calling on the government to ramp up its efforts in controlling the country's population growth. The agency, for its part, encourages each Filipino household to practice responsible parenting, including family planning. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
These are the other big stories today. Ride-sharing firm Angkas presents its proposal for motorcycle taxis under the new normal. Chief Transport Advocate George Ruyeca says a plastic shield will be put between the driver and the commuter. Angkas also asks passengers to use their own helmets and face masks to lessen the risk of COVID-19 transmission. Over at the MRT, none of the more than 700 depot personnel from the train line who have undergone rapid testing tested positive. This comes after 15 MRT maintenance workers tested positive for COVID-19. Rapid testing will continue for the rest of MRT3's personnel. Contact tracing will also continue. In separate statements, BDO and BPI are denying that German payments firm Wirecard is among their clients. The clarification follows Wirecard's claims that two Asian banks supposedly hold almost 2 billion euros in missing cash. Public school teachers in remote parts of the country are struggling with the so-called blended learning scheme. Some of them are camping out along the highway of upland areas to find mobile signals. For the details, Jem Avancenia is joining us live. Jem, has this reached the Education Department, and how do they plan to solve the matter?
Robbie, DepEd's office here in Davao Region says it is now looking on the issues surrounding the webinar, which was organized ahead of the shift to technology-based teaching. From the center of Maco Municipality, it took the News 5 team an hour to reach Barangay Nulete. Since it's surrounded with mountains and trees, it's difficult to look for a cell phone signal. But this did not stop some teachers of the Nulete Elementary and High School to attend DepEd's 3-day webinar on blended learning. They found a location along the highway where they can connect to the internet. The teachers brought with them power banks and a tent in case of rain.
Minsan ho, kung uulan, kasi mawala talaga ang signal namin. Tapos doon kami, yung ano din po, mahirapan din po kami kung halimbawa mag-ano kami, may mga pangailangan kami, kailangan pa kaming magbaba. Kaya nagdala na kami ng mga power bank.
Jason Celebre said despite the challenges, they are willing to learn from the webinar.
Bilang isang guro, hindi lang po para sa amin, kundi din po para sa mga kabataan na may malalaman din sila kahit may mga pandemya tayong na dumating sa ating panahon ngayon po, ma'am. So, kailangan nating gagawin ang lahat, dapat maging dedicated po tayo sa ating trabaho para yung mga kabataan ay maraming matutunan po.
DepEd District Supervisor Judy Noses visited the area this morning to check the teacher situation.
Personally, naawa ako sa kanila, pero I am so happy, no, na ang mga teachers pala ng Maco South ay napaka-resourceful, no? Gagawin ang lahat just to gain new learnings, especially na ito magamit nila for the coming new normal.
Robbie, a staff from Smart Communications inspected the area this morning as they are planning to install a new cell site in the area. Also this afternoon, Davao de Oro Governor Tyron Uy said that the DICT is now planning to install free Wi-Fi in around 150 sites in the province. Robbie?
Maraming salamat, Jem Avancenia, reporting live from Davao de Oro. Coming up on the big story, lawmakers are pressuring the BIR to extend its deadline for the registration of online businesses. But the agency says it's not a new policy. It might be fun at first to see how you look like as the opposite sex, but would you still be smiling should your identity be stolen? Experts are warning about the Face app. It comes with privacy risks. This is the big story. I'm Robbie Alampay. The Bureau of Internal Revenue is not closing its doors on extending the deadline for registration of online businesses, but the agency admits it could really use a boost in its tax fold. Rhea Fernandez has the story.
House lawmakers are urging the Bureau of Internal Revenue to extend its July 31 deadline for the registration of online businesses. They insist online sellers were not given enough time to settle their requirements, especially with the ongoing pandemic.
Everybody knows you have to pay on April 14, but that's the whole year you know about April 14, so you moved it by 2 months. Obviously, they at least could have a parallel or analogical move with respect to moving the deadline.
Para nakikita natin yung kapabayaan talaga ng BIR at ngayon nagpupumahog sila. Ngayon, mamadaliin nila yung mga mamamayan sa gitna ng pandemic.
In defense, the BIR said there's already been an existing policy since 2013 and that Memorandum Circular 60/2020 was just issued this June as a reminder. But with the boost in online selling amid the health crisis, the BIR says it hopes to include more businesses in the tax stream.
During these new times, we have to think of ways to continue raising revenues. We all know that the unemployment rate has gone up. This is important for raising revenues, which will support government operations.
Trade Secretary Mon Lopez backed BIR, saying the scheme will boost consumers' trust in online sellers.
The registration of online businesses would be key to consumer protection. The DTI urges online businesses to register with government because it is key to consumer protection. There is greater traceability if online sellers are registered, and this increases the trust factor and confidence of online buyers in making the transaction online.
But BIR Commissioner Cesar Dulay says they are not closing their doors should there really be a need to extend the deadline.
We'll see how the IATF will decide after.
PBA Party List Representative Coco Nograles, for his part, pointed out a deeper problem. That is, validating the sites or places of taxation, especially with the entry of foreign players in the online market. For News 5, Rhea Fernandez, We Are One News.
Father's Day is fast approaching and restaurants are putting up safety protocols now to convince families to dine out this weekend. Gerard de la Peña tells us their preparations in this report.
Restaurant owners are taking great pains to ensure that this upcoming Father's Day celebration will definitely be a memorable one. Other than the usual discounts and freebies for dads, restaurants also have to think of a way for families to still enjoy the occasion while maintaining physical distancing inside their establishments. In Taguig, chairs and tables were rearranged so that they can only accommodate a maximum of 20 at a time instead of the usual 100. Some restaurants have put plastic or acrylic dividers on tables to cover diners from each other. And in order to minimize contact between dining staff and the diners, restaurants put up QR codes for menus as well as set up cashless modes of payments.
During the transition ng delivery takeouts namin operations to modified dine-in, we made sure na the restaurant's premises are clean, all employees are issued with fit to work certificate to make sure na when they serve our guests.
Restaurant operators also encourage customers to book ahead due to limited seating capacity.
June 15, last Monday, nung nag-start tayo, we'll open the restaurant for dine-in. Talagang hindi pa ganun karami ang mga taong pumapasok. No? But we are expecting that little by little, they will become more confident. Yung mga guests natin will be more confident in dining in again.
Mall operators said foot traffic as of now is not as heavy compared to pre-COVID times. But customers are slowly coming back, especially after the government allowed dine-in services to resume. The challenge, however, is how to entice more people to visit malls.
And then we are also very fortunate that all our retail partners, they also comply with the protocols. So meron din silang kani-kanilang mga guidelines. Meron silang mga sneeze guards. They also practice social distancing inside the restaurant. Seat capacity, they also follow. So very safe.
Restaurants want the public to know that they are open for business. But if customers still feel uncomfortable going out, they can always celebrate Father's Day by having their food picked up or delivered to their homes. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
Let's take a look at some of the world's big stories. The World Health Organization says a few 100 million COVID-19 vaccine doses could be produced by the year end. This as more than 200 vaccine candidates from COVID-infected countries race to prove their effectiveness. Of the number, 10 are now undergoing human testing. African-American content creators filed suit against YouTube for factoring in race when it comes to filtering or monetizing content. The creators are accusing YouTube and Google of using racial profiling in algorithms. And Hong Kong Disneyland has reopened after 5 months of closure due to the health crisis. The theme park management notes, however, that its shopping and dining locations will have reduced capacity and health measures such as social distancing should be strictly observed. And are you on the bandwagon for Face app? Experts are warning the social media craze might put your privacy at risk. Privacy experts say the Russian-made mobile app, which has taken over Facebook and other social networking sites anew, could pose security issues. Cybersecurity Philippines is warning of data mining against the user and the organization he or she belongs to. It also warned of identity theft, fraud, extortion, and defamation. And that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again on Monday at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250. Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. You can also catch the news on One News on Signal Play's app. Register for a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Robbie Alampay. We are One News. Good evening and have a happy weekend.